Recording in progress.
Hare Krishna, we'll begin with our prayers. Somadhyanathmirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manovishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajata Sahagana Raghunatham Tam Sajivam साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीरत्नपादाललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्त काञ्चना गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी निति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna, welcome everyone. We are discussing from Srimad Bhagvatam, Canto 3, Chapter 29. Chapter 29 is entitled Explanation of Devotional Service by Lord Kapila. So in the beginning of this chapter, Devahuti, she is asking Kapila to explain more about this devotional service. She begins this chapter by saying Lakshanam Mahadadinam Prakrite Purushasya cha Swarupam Lakshate Misham Yena Tat Paramarthikam. So I've explained about the Sankhya in detail. We have explained about the characteristics of the spirit. Now I want you to explain the path of devotional service. Bhakti yogasya me margam, because that's the marg I want to follow. Ruhi vistarsha prabhu. So please in detail path of devotional service. So this is what she wants to know. And in response to this question, Kapil Dev, he first describes the various classes of bhakti. We heard in detail bhakti in the mode of passion, goodness, passion, and ignorance. He says bhakti yoga bahuvidho. There are various types of bhakti yoga. Bhakti appears in many forms. Margair bhamini bhavyate, according to the person's intention. Bhavini means according to the intentions. Sabhava guna margena, according to the modes and according to one's nature, a person performs bhakti. So therefore, he describes the three types of bhakti. Bhakti in the mode of ignorance, passion, and goodness. And the important thing is the intention. The primary intention, that is a particular word is used. Pratak bhavaha, the separatist mentality, or bhinnadrik. These two words are coming here in verses 8, 9, and 10. So in the 8th, the word has come bhinnadrik. So he is devoid of compassion. So the person in the mode of ignorance, he performs bhakti with the intention of envy, ignorance, envy, violence, pride, anger. He wants to destroy someone. That's the primary intention. And the example of the person who is performing bhakti in the mode of ignorance is what? Daksha. Daksha is the person. And we heard Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that this tamasi bhakti is also of three types. First is destroying mentality, then cheating mentality, and competitive mentality. So destroying mentality is the worst. It's the lowest grade. If somebody wants to practice bhakti with the intention of destroying someone, that is the lowest. Then cheating mentality. He wants to cheat others. Chakravarti Thakur writes, he who, like a prostitute, worships his master with a cheating mentality. He's worshipping Narayan, but with a cheating mentality. And he wants to cheat someone. So he wants to get blessings from the Lord so that he can cheat somebody. And then competitive mentality. He sees the worship of the devtas and he wants to compete with them. So then Rajasi Bhakti and Sattviki Bhakti is also described. And then after describing Bhakti in the mode of Bhakti in three modes, then 11 to 14, he is describing Bhakti which is beyond the three modes. We'll recite these verses again, 11th and 12th. मद्गुणाश्रुतिमात्रेण मयि सर्वगुहाशये मनोगतिरविच्छिन्ना यथा गङ्गाम्बसमम्बुदो
यथा गङ्गाम्भसो
लक्षणं भक्तियोगस्य
भक्तियोगस्य
निर्गुणस्य हि उदारितम्
निर्गुणस्य उच्चारितम्
अहेतुक्यव्यवहिता
अहेतुक्यम् अवहिता
तमे
या भक्ति पुरुषोत्तम.
Translation, somebody can read.
The manifestation of unadulterated devotional service is exhibited when one's mind is at once attracted to hearing the transcendental name and qualities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is residing in everyone's heart. Just as the water of Ganges flows naturally down towards the ocean, such devotional ecstasy, uninterrupted by any material condition, flows down towards the Supreme.
So the mind, manaha, manogati avichinna. So the mind which is flowing avichinna continuously towards the Supreme Lord, towards the Supreme Lord Vasudeva. And he says, Madguna Shruti Matrina, his mind goes spontaneously towards the name, form, pastimes of Lord Krishna. Because I am residing in everyone's heart. Mai sarva guhashay. And he gives an example. Yatha Gangam Bhasam Ambudo, just like the Ganga flow towards the ocean. Similar verse. Kunti Marani, what she says? Ganga Vogamudanvati, let my mind go towards you, just like Ganga flow towards the ocean. Lakshanam Bhakti Yogasya. So what is the quality of pure devotional service, which is Nirguna? Bhakti, which is Nirguna, what is the quality of that? Ahetuki Avyavahita. That is an important characteristic. Ahetuki and Avyavahita Bhakti. That defines pure devotional service. So the process of practicing pure devotional service is described here. And we heard about this in some detail. There are few verses. What are the other definitions of pure devotional service we have heard? What is the most common definition? Anya Abhilashita Shunyam. So how this definition matches with this verse? So Anya Abhilashita Shunyam जो श्लोक है पूरा, उसमें ये कहाँ पे आता है? ये श्लोक में, in these two verses, where is the Anya Abhilashita Shunyam? Can anyone tell?
Ahetuki.
Ahetuki. This Ahetuki Bhakti is Anya Abhilashita Shunya Bhakti. And then Jnana Karmadi Anavritam कहाँ पे आता है? Jnana Karmadi Anavritam means that which is uncovered by Jnana and Karma. That is Avyavahita. Avyavahita Bhakti means which is not obstructed by anything. Jnana and Karma cannot stop this. And Acharya say Anukulyan means Mai Sarva Guhashay, unto me. So it is done unto Krishna favorably, because Kamsa was also doing devotional service. One may say he was completely Krishna conscious. Ashina Samvishan Sistan Gunjanam Paretan Mahim Chintayano Rishikesham Apashat Tanmayam Jagat. Whatever he was doing, he was completely Krishna conscious. Sleeping, eating, he was seeing Krishna in the food also. He was looking Krishna, he's looking in the mirror and he's seeing Krishna in the mirror. He's roaming around, he's seeing Krishna everywhere. Pakka Krishna conscious. But we don't give example of Kamsa as a pure devotee. Why? It is not Anukul Bhakti. It is not Anukulyena Krishna, no, because Krishna is there in in everyone's heart. Mai sarva guhashay. Anukulyena Krishna. Krishna यहाँ पे है पुरुषोत्तम है. यहाँ भक्ति पुरुषोत्तम है. And where is the word anu coming here? Krishna anu है ना. Krishna अनुशीलन. Anu means what? अनु का डेफिनेशन मतलब क्या है उस श्लोक में? अन्याभिलाषिता शून्यम. कृष्णा अनुशीलनम. अनु मीन्स कंटिन्यूअस. तो यहाँ पे आता है कंटिन्यूअस भक्ति.
To follow.
नहीं, ये कौन सा वर्ड है? ये दो श्लोक जो आप सामने देख रहे हैं, मनोगति रविच्छिन्ना. यस, दैट इज अनु. एंड शीलनम इज मद गुण श्रुति मात्र. Hearing the glories of Krishna, qualities of Krishna. That is Bhakti Ruttama. Bhakti Ruttama कहाँ पे आता है? निर्गुण भक्ति. निर्गुणस्य या भक्ति. अच्छा, और कौन सा श्लोक है जो प्योर डिवोशनल सर्विस के बारे में बोलते हैं हम लोग? सर्वोपाधि विनिर्मुक्तम तत्परत्वेन निर्मलम ऋषिकेन ऋषिकेश सेवनम भक्तिरुच्यते. सो अभी ये सर्वोपाधि विनिर्मुक्तम और अनभिलाषिता शून्य. अच्छा, तो सर्वोपाधि विनिर्मुक्तम कहाँ पे आता है इधर?
अव्यवहिता is सर्वोपाधि.
अव्यवहिता नहीं, वो तो अव्यवहिता इज निर्मलम. Without obstructed, it is not obstructed by anyone. It is nirmal.
Avyabhichari that uttam.
सर्वोपाधि विनिर्मुक्ता. That is हेतु की भक्ति. Okay, and तत्परत्वेन is आनुकूल्य. तत्परत्वेन कहाँ पे आता है इसमें? तत्परत्वेन निर्मलम. तत्परत्वेन means unto Krishna. तत्परत्वेन मयि सर्व गुहाशये. So that's how, all these verses, they have same words. In, the words are different, the meanings are the same. So there is another verse. First canto में आता है. सवेद धातुम पदविम परस्य दुरंत वीर्यस्य रथांगपाणे यो अमायया संततया अनुवृत्त्या भजेत तत्पाद सरोजगंधम. So in this verse, three words are coming. Amayaya, santataya, and anuvrittya. So amayaya means without reservation. What is that? इसमें कहाँ पे आता है? Without reservation means ahetuki. No other motives. Amayaya santataya means continuous. Means कौन सा वर्ड है यहाँ पे? और कौन सा है? मनो नहीं, उसमें अव्यवहिता है ना. Without obstructions. अविच्छिन्ना भी बोल सकते हैं. Yes. Santataya and anuvrittya. Yo mayaya santataya anuvrittya. It is favorable. So all these verses are describing pure devotional service. So we read the purport last time. I think we read. Yeah. Okay. So we'll see the Chakravarti Thakur's purport. The qualities of pure bhakti mentioned in 3.25.32 are mentioned again for easy understanding. What is 3.25.32? Anyone remembers that? वो श्लोक है देवानाम गुणलिंगानाम. हो गया ना, चैप्टर हो गया ना, टेस्ट पूछ सकता हूँ मैं फिर. देवानाम गुणलिंगानाम. So that is sadhana bhakti. So Chakravarti Thakur writes, this quality of pure bhakti is further explained here for easy understanding. So the mind continuously flows to me, the Supreme Lord situated in all antahkaranas, and thus the easy object of meditation, just by hearing about my qualities. Madguna Shruti Matre, just by hearing one renders devotional service. Just like in Bhagavad Gita, 13th chapter, Krishna says, one who is Shruti Parayana, Anne Tuevam Ajananta, Shrutva Nebhyo Upasate, Tepi Chati Taranteva, Mrityum Shruti Parayana. Those who are just Shruti Parayan means dedicated to hearing. They also cross this ocean. So the process of bhakti is easy. It begins with hearing. That's just by hearing.
Hearing and observing.
Sorry.
Hearing means hearing and observing.
Yeah, hearing means after hearing what we are hearing, we should practice. And of course, we should be absorbed in hearing and thinking, just like Yashoda Maya is doing, Damodar Leela Mein. Yani yani hi gitani tadbala charitani cha tadinirmamantakaale sparanti tani agayata. She's churning butter and remembering Krishna's pastimes. So when we hear, we if we want to remember something, we have to first hear something. वही तो याद आएगा. So when we hear properly, when we are absorbed in hearing, then we can remember properly. If we are not absorbed in hearing, then it is difficult to remember that person or that object. So then Chakravarti Thakur describes, he gives the example, Ahetuki Avyavahita, and just as the water of the Ganga, even though turned back by the ocean's waves, that is very important. When the river enters the ocean, the ocean waves push the river back. But the river doesn't say, ठीक है मैं वापस जा रही हूँ, हो गया, मेरे को entry नहीं दे रहे हैं. So the devotee, even if apparently Krishna is not reciprocating, still never gives up. Ashlishyava padaratam pinashtumam adarshanan maramhatam karotua. So the mind flows only to me, though allured by me with the offerings of kingdom. So the Krishna says, I'll give you kingdom, I'll give you Salokya, Sarishti. That is the next verse. Krishna allures the devotee, ye le lo, ye le lo, ye le lo. Krishna yadi chute bhakte bhukti mukti diya, kabhu Krishna prem na den rakhe na lukaiya. भक्ति नहीं देते हैं, मुक्ति देंगे, मुक्ति देंगे, सब देंगे, भक्ति नहीं देते. Narad Muni also tells you Yudhishthira Maharaj the same thing. Rajan patir gururalam bhavatam yadunam daivam priya kulpati kvachakin karova astveva manga bhagavan bhajatam mukundo muktim dadhati karichit smana bhakti yogam. O Pandavas, O Yudhishthira, Krishna has given yourself to you because you are completely pure, surrendered souls. Otherwise, Krishna doesn't give himself so easily. Mukti de denge. भक्ति नहीं देंगे इतनी आसानी से. क्यों नहीं देते हैं भक्ति? He becomes purchased by it. So he allures the devotee by offerings of kingdom, sarishti, salokya. Also, the example of Ganga suggests that the mind of the devotee is swift, cooling, pure, and worthy of worship. That is the mind of a devotee, like Ganga. 4 qualities of devotee's mind is described: swift, cooling, pure, and worthy of worship. So that's how a devotee is. He's swiftly going towards Krishna. He's not thinking, बाद में जाएंगे, अभी आज mood नहीं हो रहा है. No, spontaneously attracted to Krishna. And what are bhakti's qualities? It is devoid of having other results. Ahetuki. It is not like jnana or yoga. Jnana depends on bhakti. Yoga depends on bhakti. अब ये आंसर तो देना ही पड़ेगा आपको. If the jnana is not there, if bhakti is not there, jnana will not give the result. Example? ये तो मैंने इतने बार बताया है. क्या हो शब्द क्या हो? स्थूल तुषाव घाती नाम. 10, 14, 4 है ना? 10, 14. श्रेयस रतिम भक्ति मुदस्य ते विभो. Yes. Okay. So now, after describing this, what is ahetuki bhakti? Krishna describes.
Because we are followers Bhakti Yoga and I'm not challenging. So we are telling Bhakti is ultimate. So Jnana, people who follow Jnana Karma, they also think Jnana is the best and
Yes. Because that is their liking.
their scriptures and also say that
They focus only on those scriptures which glorify Jnana. So they don't focus on those scriptures which glorify Bhakti. For them, okay, na shanakair vyungte पढ़ा ना हमने, the mind of the yogi is absorbed in the form of the Lord, but he very forcefully, gradually brings it back because it is not his goal. Although he is liking it, he is developing symptoms of ecstasy, but still he doesn't want that. So he wants liberation, mukti chahiye usko. So he'll focus on that more. That is the unfortunate situation of a jnani. So now, after describing this, he gives some more. So then Chakravarti Thakur says, to make clear the meaning illustrated by the example of Ganga water, Kapila explains the lack of material desire in devotee who have pure bhakti by the method of Kaimutika Nyaya. Kaimutika means, अरे उनको ये भी नहीं चाहिए तो बाकी चीज क्या है, that we बोलते हैं, that is Kaimutika, ये भी नहीं चाहिए. So he says in the next verse that devotee do not accept even spiritual benedictions, what to speak of material benedictions. Spiritual भी नहीं चाहिए तो material is not in question only. सालोक्य सारिष्टि सामीप्या सारूप्य एकत्वप्युता
आरोग्य
दीयमानं न गृह्णन्ति
दीयमानं न गृह्णन्ति
जना.
A pure devotee does not accept any kind of liberation, Salukya, Shastri, Samipya, Sarupya, and Ekatvam, even though they are offered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
So the devotee Jana, mera mat sevanam, my devotee, my jana, they do not accept, na grihnanti. क्या नहीं ग्रहण करते हैं? 5 types of liberation. Salokya, having the chance to live on the same planet. Sarishti, having similar opulences as the Lord. Samipya, to be close to the Lord. Then Sarupya, having the same bodily features. And Aikatvam. If ये कब नहीं लेते हैं? If there is no service. Vina mat sevanam. If seva is not there, I don't want this. So for a devotee, mukti is not in question at all. But he rejects even personal liberations also. So that is the understanding a devotee should have. Diyamanam, देंगे तो भी नहीं लेंगे. एक तो मिल ही नहीं रहा है तो अभी क्या बात. Even if Krishna gives, he will not take it. Mukti is not in question only. It's like Padyavali describes. One time a devotee was doing a chanting with his eyes closed and he realizes somebody has come. He opens his eyes and he says, Mukti Mataji has come. Mukti Devi has come. So Mukti Devi is standing there and he asks, who are you? Katvam. So she says, Mukti Rupagatasmi Bhavati. I am Mukti Devi. Kasmada Kasmadiha. How come suddenly you have come? Tvam Krishna Deva Smaranena Bhavato Dasipadam Prapita. Are because you are serving Krishna, I have become your Dasi. So this devotee says, Dure Tishta Managanagasi, stay away of abominable one. So she is shocked. Katham Kuryada Nariyam, maine kya galti ki? She says, Tvam Krishna Deva Tvad Gandhan Nijanama Chandan Rasale Pasya Lopo Bhavet. Just by your fragrance, my desire for bhakti will go away. So Ekatvam is not in question only, but these 4 types of liberation, they are also not desirable if seva is not there.
Where is the shloka from?
This is from Padyavali. Padyavali Rupa Goswami quotes this. So he doesn't desire liberation. Because liberation, if somebody desires liberation, that is a desire of a devotee who is practicing bhakti in the mode of, in which mode? मुक्ति. कौन से मोड में भक्ति को मुक्ति चाहिए रहता है?
Passion.
सत्य.
सत्व गुणी भक्ति. पैशन वाले को तो desires for some things and the opulence of this world.
South India, everybody is very fond of.
नहीं वो तो मुक्ति means
I don't know what exactly it means, but सब लोग बोलते हैं.
बोलते हैं श्री संप्रदाय में मुक्ति मीन्स
Not Sri, generally in general.
इन जनरल ओके
What is the shloka? Not first, where the first canto, where the mukti is also part there. So mukti is not yet.
क्या ट्रांसलेशन बोलिए
Whatever that you still have to worship. Tivrena Bhakti Yoga. What is the first starting?
तीव्रेण भक्ति योगेन ये अच्छा काम सर्व कामो वा मोक्ष काम उदारति तीव्रेण भक्ति योगेन
So in that moksha is taken down because moksha because that is
हाँ क्योंकि ज्ञानियों
desire of that. So
या तो ज्ञानियों को भी भक्ति करनी ही पड़ती है ना भक्ति करेगा तभी वो ज्ञानी मोक्ष मोक्ष प्राप्त करेगा
So what he is trying to tell is that first is akama.
Akama, Sarva Kama, Moksha Kama.
Is next to sarvakam.
ओके
So that is even worse than the other. So this is like a
यस
so there I don't remember exactly that has been described as a lower than the other than
I think
some of the sides.
ओके
Interpretation.
See, Mayavadis, they, for them, mukti means they want to become God, so that is worse than anything. So here I like to see the Chakravarti Thakur's purport, what he writes about the this verse. कौन सा है वो श्लोक? Verse number क्या है? अकाम सर्व कामो. It comes in second canto.
Comes in the
First canto में
first
आता है?
canto.
अकाम सर्व कामो वा.
So,
It is 2, 3, 10. So 2, 3, 10. Okay. So Srimad Chakravarti Thakur writes. Not only those persons who have a desire to destroy all material desires should worship Supreme Lord, but also those with all desires and those with no desires. So, no desires is akama, all desires is sarvakama, and moksha kama means those who have a desire to destroy all material desires. Sabko bhakti karna hai. Okay. So, he says akama, Sridhar Swami says akama means a pure devotee. जिसको कोई कामना नहीं है वो प्योर डिवोटी चलो Sajiv Goswami says in Sandarbha, Akam means a person whose only happiness is happiness of Supreme Lord. That is Akam. That is a pure devotee. Sarvakam means all desires in general. And Mokshakam is mentioned separately in order to cut down people's thought that they are without desire, since they desire liberation. So that is also a desire. Mokshakami, it is a desire. I want liberation. Or the word can indicate that the person desiring liberation, this is what you are speaking. The person desiring liberation is even more filled with desire than the person desiring material comforts. See, Akama is a pure devotee. That is not in question only. उसको तो हम लोग देख ही नहीं सकते. वो a pure devotee. The question is Sarvakam or Mokshakam. If a person has all the desires and if a person wants liberation, amongst the two, this Mokshakami is more, is a lower person because he says he's even more filled with desire than the person desiring material comforts, since it follows directly after the word Sarvakam. Sarvakam के से ज़्यादा ही है मोक्षकाम, as he wants moksha. ऐसा कैसे है? He says. The word kama itself indicates a desire to destroy suffering and attain happiness. So kam means I want to enjoy. Those desires are shown to be stronger in jnanis because they are upset with the material world. They want to destroy all the desires because they are frustrated. Because ultimately desires, one wants to fulfill desires because one wants happiness. But the greatest happiness one wants is, I want liberation. So that's what he says. Those desires are shown to be stronger in the jnanis engaged in destroying the suffering of their sansar and anxious for experience of the happiness of Brahman than in karmis. So that is how it is. But the devotees are engaged only in giving happiness to the Lord. So therefore, Nishkama is applicable to them. Akama sarvakama va mokshakama. Akama means Nishkama. So the word is sarvakama or mokshakama. Dono mein mokshakama is more filled with desires. That is described here. Okay.
Prabhuji, one question.
Yeah.
So Prabhuji, when this in the Bhagavatam, there is description of this Vaikuntha Loka. Now the denizens of Vaikuntha Loka keep singing the glories of the Lord. So they come on what category, Prabhuji? They are gone to Vaikuntha. So are they? Are they not they have got moksha and they have gone? Is that the way to think of, or are they basically devotional service? They are bhaktas. How do we understand?
If the word is diyamanam na grihnanti, देने पे भी नहीं लेते हैं, कब नहीं लेंगे? सेवा नहीं है तो if seva is not there, they will not accept it. So if they have accepted this, that means they have gone for seva, because devotee तो लेगा ही नहीं अगर सेवा नहीं है तो. So if somebody is accepting all these personal types of liberation, going to Vaikuntha, because in Vaikuntha everybody has all these things. Salokya bhi hai, samipya sabko nahi hai. There are some people, some devotees who stay close to Lord Vishnu. Not everyone stays close to Lord Vishnu. Some people, they may not get into the closest circle of Lord Vishnu. samipya सबको नहीं मिल पाता है. सालोक्य सबको मिल रहा है, सारिष्टि सबको मिल रही है, सारूप्य सबको मिल रहा है. Everybody has Vishnu form only. इसके पहले पढ़ा है 15th chapter में, 3rd canto 15th chapter. Brahma ji is describing Sarve Vaikuntha Murtaya. They are all Vaikuntha Murtis. So all the devotees in Vaikuntha, they are there because there is seva. That's why they have gone there. They have accepted this because they want to serve. Otherwise, नहीं जाते वो. So that is a way of telling. अरे देने पे भी नहीं लेंगे, इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि अच्छा सालोक्य में नहीं लेना चाहिए. No. It is a way of saying that they take it only if there is service. If service is not there, they will not take it. Just like simple way. If somebody says, अरे सूरज उदय नहीं होगा लेकिन ये डिवोटी मंगल आरती आएगा. So ऐसा तो नहीं, अच्छा सूरज नहीं उदय होगा क्या? That is a way of telling. So उसको बोलते हैं कैमुतिक न्याय. ऐसा भी हुआ तो ये होने वाला है. So that's all. जैसे अभी हिंदी में एक मुहावरा है, घोड़ा बेच के सो रहा है. हिंदी में बोलते हैं ना, ऐसा आराम से सोता है तो घोड़ा बेच के सो रहा है. That is a phrase. So if somebody doesn't know this, उन्हें घोड़ा बेच, कौन सा घोड़ा बेचा वो? इतने में भी कहो. So that is all these things are कैमुतिक न्याय. These are the way to express some important emotions. इसलिए बोला गया दीयमानम ना ग्रंथि, देंगे तो भी नहीं लेंगे, सेवा नहीं होगा. Okay.
One question.
Yeah.
So in the Vaikuntha Loka, so there are people there who got this Salokya Mukti, but they are not serving Lord Vishnu. Is it so?
Yes.
They are not directly, but they will be doing some service.
There are some people. उस दो प्रकार की मुक्ति है वैकुंठ में. सुख ऐश्वर्य उत्तर मुक्ति एंड प्रेम से उत्तर मुक्ति. भक्तिविनोद ठाकुर राइट्स, जय धर्म बताते हैं, सुख ऐश्वर्य उत्तर मुक्ति. They are also there in Vaikuntha, but they are not against the Lord, but they are favorable to a devotional service, but they are not so much inclined to the process of devotional service. They also get a chance to go there, but they are on the outer circles. They are not the closest devotees. Srila Prabhupada never emphasized all these things because it creates confusion in the minds of common people. बोले उधर भी ऐसे लोग रहते हैं क्या? रहते हैं, but they are not the close circle pure devotee type. They don't have so much of this inclination to serve. That's why it is called as Sukha Aishwaryottar Mukti. I can just search something I have.
Not everybody is engaged in There is no dust in their one. They continue to clean the walls. No?
वो pure devotees वो वाले अलग है ना. There are many things in scriptures. प्रेम से I I heard this first from Balram Shakti Prabhu. Sukha Ishwar.
So these people can fall down from Vaikuntha?
No,
No, not the other.
no, they'll never fall down from Vaikuntha. अच्छा इसी में मैंने okay, it's there and noted this. Okay, so when we were hearing the last, Satviki Bhakti जो है ना, Satviki Bhakti में, in that, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes this. We got that verse. 29:10 में कर्म निरहारम उद्देश्य परस्मिन् वा तदर्पणम यजेद यष्टव्यमिति वा पृथक भाव स सात्विका. जिनको मुक्ति चाहिए, ये जो सात्विकी भक्ति करते हैं ना, वो भी उनको भी पर्सनल लिबरेशन मिलता है. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes in the purport. We didn't focus so much, but यहाँ पे क्वेश्चन आ गया है तो अभी देख ही लेते हैं उसको. 3:29:10 ना 10. Yeah. So here the verse Chakravarti Thakur writes, what is the result of Satviki Bhakti? When Gyan is secondary and Bhakti is primary, it is called as Gyan Mishra Bhakti, right? Gyan is secondary, Bhakti is primary. Common है ना? What it produces? It produces Shantarati. Shantarati मतलब कहाँ जाएगा? जाएगा ना वैकुंठ में, तभी तो शांतरति मिलेगा उसको. If Gyan becomes prominent and Bhakti is secondary, then where he'll go? He will enter in Brahman. That is Sayujya Mukti. Okay. So the person who is practicing Satviki Bhakti, he gets Shantarati. Okay. So then he says, what is the result of Bhakti Mishra Sakam Karma? वहां पे वर्ड नहीं है, मैं बता रहा हूं. So bhakti mixed with karma. यहाँ पे आता है ना? Here it is written, right? Bhakti mixed with karma, such as hot sacrifice, with a desire for material gain, with some offerings of actions and attachment to the results, but of not offering all the actions. तो क्या कर रहा है वो? भक्ति मिश्र सकाम कर्म कर रहा है. क्या मिलेगा उसको? क्या लिखा है? पढ़िए. Produces. You are there, all are there? नहीं. शांतिरति नहीं, पहले है.
चालोक्य लिबरेशन.
Mixed with karma, such as hot sacrifice. वो वाला लाइन पढ़ रहा हूं मैं. क्या मिलेगा? Produces salokya. Okay? With happiness and powers. That is called as Sukh Aishwaryottar Mukti. उसको सालोक्य मिलता है, उसको भी वैकुंठ मिल जाता है. सालोक्य मिलता है उसको, सुख ऐश्वर्य उत्तर मुक्ति मिलती है उसको.
So here the given is offering some offering.
So Lord is so he is performing Bhakti Mishra Sakama Karma. So Lord is so magnanimous. भाई तू थोड़ा तो भक्ति कर रहा है, तेरे को मैं दूंगा अपने प्लेस में, आप रहो उधर आराम से अपना.
So many devotees within this category.
Maybe. See, all these things are there in scriptures. Srila Prabhupada wants to give us the highest. That's why he never emphasizes all these things. ये हम लोग भक्ति वैभव क्लास में 3 कैंटो के बाद सुन रहे हैं ये. It is not for the common public. Because Prabhupada wants everyone to give the best. प्रेम से सेवा करो ना, उसमें ज्यादा सुख है। तो प्रेम सेवा, प्रेम सेवोत्तर मुक्ति ज्यादा अच्छा है। That's why Srila Prabhupada never emphasized anything less than pure, unalloyed devotional service. There are various grades of devotees. Prabhupada never compromised anything. Okay.
So, Prabhuji, this is the Abhilasha of our devotees is only to achieve Krishna Prem, na? So those who are practicing devotional service, their Abhilasha is achieving the Krishna Prem, and these people who are, the category which we discussed about Sakam Karma with Bhakti, their Abhilasha is liberation, na? Mukti, na?
Yes. Yes. They want
So
liberation.
devotees, even if they practice, even if just now Mataji told many people will be in this category, probably those who are practicing pure devotional service, even if they have some impurities in the beginning of the devotional service, but because their abhilasha is to achieve Krishna Prem, they don't fall into this category. Although seemingly they looks like they are having some, other intentions or other desires, but desires and abhilasha has to be very clear what we want in our process of practice. Our practice is pure, our abhilasha has to be clear. And when we do this with a weak faith, probably it looks like we are practicing mixed devotional service. But that is not the case. When abhilasha is Krishna Prem, even if you are practicing with weak faith, your goal is Krishna Prem only.
Yes, Prabhuji. What we are discussing is, if there are people who are not practicing pure devotional service, how can they go in Vaikuntha? It happens.
Okay. Yeah. Vaikuntha they go, but they don't do any service to Krishna actually.
Yeah. So it is our fortune that we are saved from this type of bhakti. Satviki bhakti produces such results. One can go to Vaikuntha, still not serve Krishna.
So, like, means like how they
Liberation.
Pandits they perform the sacrifices, something sacrifice.
They are serving Supreme Lord with the desire for liberation. वो सात्विकी भक्ति हो गई. Or if somebody is doing sakam karma mixed with bhakti, मतलब मैं थोड़ा अर्पण करूंगा. Classic example is 9th chapter Bhagavad Gita 27th verse. Yat karoshi yadashnasi yat juhoshi dadashi yat tapasyasi kaunteya tat kurushva. That is bhakti mishra sakama karma. That is not pure devotional service Krishna recommending there. Krishna is not recommending pure devotional service in that verse. Yat karoshi yadashnasi yat juhoshi dadasi yat. जो भी आप anyways you are doing it, just offer to me now. You are not doing it for me, you are doing it anyways.
That's what we do. We look at
No, the primary purpose we should be doing is, primary purpose is I want to serve the Lord, but because I have to maintain, I'll serve the Lord and I'll eat also.
That should be the way we have.
So that is bhakti mishra karma है वो मतलब ठीक है मुझे करना ही है तो फिर भगवान को भी थोड़ा कर देते हैं. That is not level of pure devotional service Krishna is recommending there. Pure devotional service is man manava mad bhakto madhyaji mam namasko. So that's how we have to be really careful that am I performing pure devotional service or my bhakti is getting mixed. The primary intention is what? We may be doing some things, but the primary intention should not be to enjoy. That is important. Srila Prabhupada has saved us by giving nothing less than pure devotional service. ठोक ठोक के हमको वही बताया, शुद्ध भक्ति सेवा सेवा सेवा. भक्ति means devotional service. वहां से शुरू करते हैं प्रभुपाद. So that's how we have to understand what Prabhupada has done for us. Another example is Prabhupada would always tell those aruhya krichrena param padam tata patanti yata. Those who are jnanis, they go achieve liberation, but they fall down. Acharyas, nobody falls down from Brahman. प्रभुपाद ने तो हमेशा बोला है ठोक ठोक के ब्राह्मण में जाके गिर जाता है. प्रभुपाद ने गलत बोल दिया क्या? क्या है? See, Prabhupada is Prabhupada's compassion is such that, Arey Baba, you don't get, it is said, good is the enemy of the best. Prabhupada wants us to give the best, to achieve the best. तो ब्रह्मन में फंस जाओगे तो प्रेम नहीं मिलेगा आपको, बिकॉज ब्रह्मन इज अनलिमिटेड टाइम्स मोर देन जड़ानंद. हम लोग तो ऐसा गाली देते हैं ना, है कैवल्यम नरकायते त्रिदशपुर. तो अपने आचार्य तो वहां से शुरू करते हैं, गिविंग ऑल द गाली टू ब्रह्म सुख. बट द happiness of Brahman is unlimited times more than the highest happiness of this world. तो कुछ तो रहेगा ना उसमें. लेकिन भक्ति का सुख इतना है कि इनसिग्निफिकेंट है. इट इज लाइक सांद्रानंद विशेषात्मा. So those who are, Prabhupada has not told anything wrong, because those who are not yet liberated and gone in Brahman, even if they are at the level of Jnana Mukta, till the time they don't get into Brahman, they may fall down. गिर जाएंगे वो. There are chances. So Prabhupada always emphasized this. कि भाई भक्ति करो, शुद्ध भक्ति करो, सात्विकी भक्ति मत करो, रजोगुणी तमोगुणी भक्ति, it's not required. So that's how this principle of pure devotional service is very, very rare. What we are aspiring for is anarpit charim chirat karunaya avatirna kalau. वो Mahaprabhu's mercy is there that we are speaking all this. नहीं तो अधिकांश जनता तो सात्विकी भक्ति कर रही है. The primary intention is what? Satviki bhakti, rajoguni bhakti, tamoguni bhakti. They are doing bhakti, but intention kya hai? And then Chakravarti Thakur writes something more.
The same verse, in the 10th verse only, he further talks about in some cases, such bhakti will.
Wait. Yes, that's what I am going to read now. If one produces bhakti, if one performs bhakti and offers some karma without a desire for results, then it produces shantarati. So, निष्काम कर्म करेंगे, भक्ति मिश्र निष्काम कर्म, भक्ति मिश्र सकाम कर्म करेंगे तो क्या मिलेगा? सालोक्य. बट थोड़ा पेरिफेरी में रहेंगे वो लोग. बट भक्ति मिश्र निष्काम कर्म करेंगे तो you may get shantarati. Though Rajasic and Tamasic bhakti produces results, the performers generally get material results. Rajasi, Tamasi में तो material results है. However, the results will be greater than usual because of the power of bhakti. कर्म से भी मिलेगा, भक्ति से ज्यादा अच्छा मिलेगा. That is the power of bhakti. In terms of yielding devotion results, in some cases, such bhakti will with time become pure bhakti. जैसे ध्रुव के केस में हो गया. He became pure devotee. And this famous verse which we have heard many times, कृष्ण देते हैं, ऐसा देते हैं कि वापस मांगेगा ही नहीं. सत्यम दिशत्यर्थितम अर्थितो निनाम नैवार्थ दोयत पुनरर्थिताम यथा. Okay. We'll continue from verse number 13 we were discussing. Yeah. So Srila Prabhupada writes, Lord Chaitanya teaches us how to execute pure devotional service out of spontaneous love. Najanam najanam na sundarim kavitam va. This is a pure devotional service. Life after life. Mam janmani janmanishware. The jnanis and the yogis, they desire to stop the cycle of birth and death. But a devotee is satisfied to remain even in the material world and execute devotional service. Srila Prabhupada gave when he was giving initiation, and he gave a name to one devotee, Bhavananda Das, our famous Bhavananda Prabhupada. So Prabhupada, so he asked, Prabhupada, what is the meaning of Bhavananda? So he said, Prabhupada, is it that one who experiences Anand in Bhava? Prabhupada said, that is Bhavananda. Your name is Bhavananda. उसका मतलब क्या होता है? One who experiences happiness in this material world. बोले ये क्या दिया है नाम? So he says, then Prabhupada said there is only one happiness in this material world. The happiness of preaching Krishna consciousness. So devotee is satisfied to remain even in the material world and execute devotional service wherever.
This
Wherever.
makes sense, even if I'm born as an ant in a Vaishnava.
कीट जन्म हो यदि तुआ दास बहिर्मुख ब्रह्मा नहीं मोर आशा. This is another example of तैमूत्र का न्याय. बोलते हैं चलेगा, मुझे कीड़ा बनना चलेगा घर में डिवोटी कर, लेकिन ब्रह्मा अगर डिवोटी नहीं होगा ना तो मुझे ब्रह्मा नहीं बनना है. It does not mean that ब्रह्मा भी नॉन डिवोटी होता है क्या? मतलब बोलने का मतलब अगर ब्रह्मा भी नॉन डिवोटी हो गया ना तो भी मुझे ब्रह्मा बिल्कुल नहीं बनना है. So that is another way of emphasizing things. So that is how Bahirmukh Brahma nahi mor asha. I don't want to become Brahma if Brahma is not a devotee. Brahma will never be a non-devotee, but by chance, ऐसा by chance होगा नहीं कभी, फिर भी बन गया non-devotee ब्रह्मा, मुझे ब्रह्मा नहीं बनना है. So that is the example. So then Prabhupada continues. It is clearly stated herein that a pure devotee does not desire ekatva. Ekatva तो चाहिए ही नहीं. To become one with the Supreme Lord is beyond the dream of a devotee. Sometimes he may accept promotion too. Sometimes he may accept. मतलब बाकी लोग सुनेंगे ना, other sampradayas, they will like क्या बोल रहा, sometimes our highest goal is Vaikuntha only. So we should be very careful while we are presenting these things to other sampradayas. Because ultimately, the process of devotional service is same. The Lord remains the same. It is the difference in rasa. Whether the Lord is in Vaikuntha or the Lord is in Goloka, Krishna remains the same. Krishna and Vishnu, it is not much difference. The only difference is in rasa. Rasa in which they reciprocate with his devotees, their devotees. And Prabhupada writes, next paragraph says, when the devotee is promoted to Vaikuntha, he receives 4 kinds of facilities. One of these is Salokya. So Prabhupada describes what is Salokya. And then he describes Sarishti, Sarupya, Samipya. And the last paragraph, Prabhupada writes, a pure devotee does not accept these 5 kinds of spiritual existence, even if they are offered. And certainly he does not hanker after material results. Spiritual भी नहीं चाहिए तो material तो क्या बात है. When Prahlad Maharaj was offered benefits, he said, my Lord, I have seen that my father had everything. And Devtas are bowing down to him in fear. But you have finished his life. For a devotee, there is no question of desiring any material or spiritual prosperity. He simply aspires to serve the Lord. That is his highest happiness. Service is the highest happiness. So that's how. So a devotee, he is not proud in telling that मुझे तो मुक्ति चाहिए ही नहीं. मुक्ति क्या है? It is insignificant. Actually, a devotee feels unqualified to have the same opulences as the Lord, to have get a chance to stay close to the Lord. So he says, no, I don't want. But seva रहेगा तो I'll take it. It's like if somebody is traveling, he wants to go from Mira Road temple to Mira Road station. It's going from here to station to receive some senior devotee. So somebody may say, okay, I can walk also, or I can take a taxi also, or I can take a car also and go. But चलने में तो time लग जाएगा, late हो जाएगा सेवा में. So सेवा है ना, so I'll take some fast, quick vehicle, and then I'll go and receive that devotee. If seva is there, I'll take that opulence. I'll travel in taxi or a car if seva is there. Otherwise, I'm okay in whatever way. Seva is there. Seva is important. Seva is not there, I don't want liberation also. So devotee is interested only in seva.
Any devotee example, Dhiyamanam. Na Dhiyamanam.
Dhiyamanam na grinanti, vinamat sevanam jana. तो महाप्रकाश लीला में बहुत सारे, एक तो प्रहलाद महाराज का एग्जाम्पल वो बोल रहे हैं, प्रहलाद महाराज बोलते हैं नहीं चाहिए। अच्छा वो मुक्ति नहीं चाहिए। हाँ
ठीक है।
वो महाप्रकाश लीला में महाप्रभु टेल्स आई विल गिव यू लिबरेशन आल्सो, उसमें भी है ना, दामोदर लीला में ही है, वरम देव मोक्षम न मोक्षावधिम वा। मोक्षावधि क्या है? दैट इज वैकुंठ। मोक्ष वर मोक्ष नहीं चाहिए, मोक्षावधि, मोक्षावधि इज वैकुंठ। सनातन गोस्वामी का टीका है उसमें पूरा, ये नो ना, सनातन गोस्वामी का पूरा टीका है दामोदर अष्टकम पे, लंबा सा एकदम डिटेल्ड में, एवरी वर्ड ही एक्सप्लेन्स ब्यूटीफुली। He says मोक्षावधि इज वैकुंठ, वो भी नहीं चाहिए।
This all sounds very high level.
हाँ तो really it is very high level.
Imagine करना भी difficult पड़ रहा है।
बट हमको ज्यादा ऐसा देख के किधर वो किधर, हाँ हमारा क्या है? कोई बात नहीं, at least we are on the path, so should not get so much sad thinking उधर तक तो नहीं पहुंचेंगे, कोई बात नहीं, जहां तक भी पहुंचे it is benefit only. So what is the loss? नेहा विक्रमणा स्वस्ति, there is no loss. Rather than aspiring from the lesser goals, the Prabhupada say hunt for the rhino. मिला तो अच्छा है, नहीं बोले नहीं मिला तो anyways मिलने वाला तो था ना. So nobody will blame, अरे क्या है rhino नहीं पकड़ा, rhino कैसे पकड़ेंगे, nobody will blame. मिल गया तो अच्छा है, so and मिलेगा ही, प्रभुपाद ने बोला है तो मिलेगा ही, so there should be no doubt about it. If we continue practicing one life or after 10 million lives, वो कोई बात नहीं, मिलेगा, कब मिलेगा वो नहीं सोचना है. It's like मुकुंदा and महाप्रकाश लीला बोलते हैं 10 million lives, अरे 10 million lives मिलेगा ना, वाह वाह क्या बात है. You know, this Kartik Yatra Maharaj was speaking this last time. Swami Maharaj was saying, how many of you will be happy when you are told after 10 million lifetimes you will achieve? Will you start dancing in ecstasy? That was Mukunda, that was the qualification. A devotee is ready to wait. धैर्य इतना भी चलेगा, मिलेगा ना, उसके बाद assurance है मिलेगा ना, no problem.
At this time shortage of the planet, if that devotee promoted to another higher
उतना कैलकुलेशन करते बैठेंगे तो फिर तो
quickly, over quickly.
वो अपने लिए नहीं है कैलकुलेशन इतना, वो कैलकुलेशन करना है इंटेंस भक्ति करने के लिए, उसमें डिप्रेशन में नहीं जाना है कि इधर होगा अपना, तो हमारा तो काम क्रोध लोग, हमारा तो माला करते करते या 16वां माला नीचे जाता है तो एक्सट्रेसी आता है अपने को, तो ऐसा कहाँ जाएंगे, इतना सब दिया है बड़ा बड़ा, नो प्रॉब्लम. सेवा.
So, Prabhuji, just one last question from you, Prabhuji. So, Prabhuji, when we are saying this, so it means that we normally say that we want to get out of this cycle of birth and death. So, we should not desire that also. That means, no, Prabhuji, that means
कर्मणा मनसा गिरा निखिलाश्वपि अवस्थासु जीवन मुक्त स उच्यते. जीवन मुक्त होना है. While staying in this world, we can be liberated. We can be out of the cycle of birth and death while living in this world. So, for at one level, for a devotee who has just started taking interest in Krishna consciousness, for that devotee, the motivation is भवसागर से मुक्ति मिलेगा. But the more we advance, this should not be the desire of a devotee. अरे यहाँ पे मुक्ति नहीं चाहिए तो उसको सालों, अभी ये संसार के प्रॉब्लम से लिबरेशन तो बहुत ही लोअर टाइप ऑफ डिजायर हो गया नहीं. इफ अ डिवोटी डजंट वांट इवन मुक्ति, सालोक्य सारिष्टी सामीप्य यही सब भी नहीं चाहिए, so just getting out of the cycle of the birth and death, that Gyani is also get. So, you know, for new people, new devotees coming to Krishna consciousness, this motivation is good. मुक्ति हो जाएगी. But even after spending 20, 30, 40 years, same desire is there. Then that means we have not understood the philosophy properly. A devotee is not interested in liberation. Devotee is interested in seva. ऐसा कूट कूट के प्रभुपाद जी हमेशा बोल रहे हैं. Our scriptures, they are always telling. And while serving, we are liberated already. It is not that devotee will be entangled. Devotee is liberated, but he doesn't want it. It is not that nahi denge, but he doesn't want it. We have heard in one of the verses, koi to isme aaya tha, Chakravarti Thakur writes that. Prabhupada also expressed in the purport, Krishna gives liberation to the devotees also. Why? Because for a materialistic person, he knows gold. He doesn't know chintamani. तो उसको चिंतामणि देंगे तो बोलेंगे ये क्या दिया मेरे को, ये तो चाहिए नहीं मेरे को. For outsiders, pure devotional service is like chintamani. They have no experience about it. They know mukti. Mukti milta hai. So they know gold. So to attract these outsiders to the process of pure devotional service, Krishna gives mukti to the devotees also. भाई ये भी मिलता है. अच्छा ये चिंतामणि से मुक्ति मिलता है क्या? ठीक है चिंतामणि ले लेते हैं. अरे चिंतामणि से बहुत कुछ मिलता है. So mukti is just a byproduct. So that is how Krishna is working somehow or other. यार तू ला आ तो सही तू. बस अंदर जा, बाद में मैं तेरा धुलाई करूंगा अच्छे से. Krishna consciousness is so wonderful that one is forcibly dragged to success. कहाँ था ये स्टेटमेंट मालूम है? अरे नेक्टर ऑफ डिस्ट्रक्शन का है ये स्टेटमेंट. प्रभु जी कितने साल पहले पढ़ा. मजाक कर रहे हैं. Many years back there was a cartoon. Somebody admit Krishna is dragging a devotee. He's by his feet and he's shouting, leave me, Krishna, it is very painful. Krishna says, who started it? शुरू किसने किया? तुमने शुरू किया. Now you cannot say leave me. नवै जनो जातु कथंचन व्रजेन् मुकुन्द सेव्यन्यवदंग संस्कृतिं स्मरण मुकुन्दांग्रि उपगोहनं पुनः विहातुमिच्छे नरसक्रवोचन. Devotee will be haunted by the ghost of good experiences if he leaves there. Okay, anyways, Hare Krishna. आगे बढ़ेंगे. So devotee is interested in seva. That's why Krishna told Uddhav ji, Uddhav, please go to Badri ashram and serve. एक सेवा बची है मेरी. So Uddhav ji tells, now I am feeling solace. I am finding solace in serving the instructions of Krishna. By serving the instructions of Krishna, I feel the presence of Krishna. So then, in the next verse, he says, how can one serve without having any expectations? You should get something in return. कुछ तो मिलना चाहिए ना. कुछ नहीं मिलेगा ऐसा कैसे? Then why will they perform bhakti? Then the next verse he says, yes, they get something. When they perform bhakti, they get the highest result. What is the highest result? Saiva bhakti yogakhya atyantika udaritah enati prajya trigunam madbhavayopapadyate.
मदा भक्त्योर्पपद्यते.
By attaining the highest platform devotional service, as I have explained, one can overcome the influence of the three modes of material nature and be situated in the transcendental state, as is the Lord.
So what you will get, what a devotee gets. Saivam bhakti yogakhya. The highest, so by the practice of this bhakti yoga, one gets atyantika udarita. He gets the highest state of existence. And in that state, ativrajya trigunam. He surpasses the three modes and madbhavaya upapadyate. He attains love for me. He gets situated in transcendental stage. Krishna Chakravarti Thakur writes, why do they perform bhakti then? कुछ मिलता ही नहीं है तो क्यों करेंगे? ये तो क्या है? He says, they get bhakti because it gives the highest result. Atyantika, the highest result. It indicates the most excellent result. Somebody may say, well, Atyantik means merging in Brahman. He says, no. Therefore, this Atyantik is called Bhakti Yogakhya. This is not impersonal liberation, this is personal liberation. Because sometimes bhakti is also called apavarga, Brahman or Nirvana. That's how. And then after some lines he says, but last paragraph. But but liberation from the bondage of the three gunas alone is famous as the final result. लोग तो ये बोलते हैं ना. Liberation means liberation from the modes. He says, yes, that is true. But that is byproduct of bhakti. Which verse in Bhagavad Gita says this? One transcends the three modes. 14th chapter, 26th verse. मैं अभी पहला लाइन भूल गया हूँ. क्या हो रहे? देखिए ना. माम चैव कारेण भक्ति योगेन सेवते सगुणान समतीत्यैतान. So by avyabhichari bhakti, what one gets, पहले तो transcends the modes and Brahma bhuyaya kalpate, they attain liberation. Liberation भी भक्ति से ही मिलता है. So thus the verse says, by bhakti one surpasses the gunas, but surpassing the guna is achieved without seeking it. For a devotee, he is not so much concerned about surpassing the modes of nature. He naturally achieves it. He's not so much about getting detached from this world. He naturally, automatically becomes detached simply by taking shelter of the Lord's feet. It becomes like a water in the calf's hoof print. Which verse says this? Samashitaye padapallava palava. So Srila Prabhupada writes, Sripad Shankaracharya has admitted in the beginning of his comments on Bhagavad Gita, Narayana Paro Avyaktat. Prabhupada is writing about that. Narayana is beyond the material modes. And except for him, everything is within the material modes. It is also confirmed in Vedic literature. In the beginning, there was only Narayan, neither Lord Shiva nor Brahma. Only Narayan is always in transcendental position. So Prabhupada is explaining Nirguna. So the Lord is Nirguna and Bhakti is also Nirguna. Because if somebody is Nirguna, you can approach him only by the process of Nirguna Bhakti. Bhakti is Nirguna. And then Prabhupada writes, how a devotee is naturally liberated. Brahma Bhuta Prasanna Atma Nashochati. Then Aham Brahmasmi and all that. Okay. So then after describing all this, in 15 to 18 verses, Lord Kapila, he is describing the components of devotional service in more detail. The angas of bhakti, which purifies the mind. Because the mind ultimately should be purified. How the mind will be purified? There are various limbs of bhakti. निषेवितेनामि अनिमित्तेन स्वधर्मेण महीयसा क्रियायोगेन शस्तेन नातिहिंस्रेण नित्यशः.
A devotee must execute his prescribed duties, which are glorious, without material profit. Without excessive violence, one should regularly perform one's devotional activities.
So these are some of the practices of a devotee. So the mind should be purified by following Swadharma, by following Varnashram duties, which are approved by previous devotees. Nishevitena. Nishevitena means which are executed by previous devotees, वही सेवाएं वही सब करना है. And without desire for results, animittena, and it should be done Nityashaha, always. Then Mahiyasa Kriya Yogena, by performing the devotional service regularly. Chakravarti Thakur says, by performing Pancharatrika deity worship, one should do it. And na ati himsrena, one should not be violent. So Prabhupada in the purport, he describes how one should practice bhakti, how everyone can practice bhakti according to their varnashram duties. And then from every position. So Prabhupada explains what is from every position. Nishevitena animittena swadharmena. What is swadharma? So Prabhupada quotes this verse from Bhagavad Gita. Swakarmana tam abhyarchya. One can serve the Lord by performing one's prescribed duty. So wherever you are, we can practice bhakti. So Prabhupada writes in detail. He describes how gopis were also performing bhakti. And Nanda Maharaj and all those cowherd men, they were Vaishyas, they were also performing bhakti. And then it is mentioned that how Shudras, Chandal, they also perform bhakti. There's a beautiful verse, how anyone can practice bhakti without considering their positions. Vyadasya charanam dhruvasya chavayo vedya gachendrasya ka kubjaya kimunama rupa adhikam kim tatsudam no dhanam. वंशस्को विदुरस्य यादवपते उग्रस्य किं पौरुषं भक्त्या तुष्यति केवलं न च गुणैः भक्ति प्रियो माधव. What was the qualification of that hunter? There is a Dharma Vyad mentioned in Mahabharata. He was a hunter, but he was a devotee. Vyad. What was the age of Dhruva? 5 years old boy. What was the knowledge of Gajendra? He was an animal. What was the beauty of Kubja? She was a hunchback lady. What was the wealth of Sudama? He was a poor, poverty-stricken Brahmana. What was the dynasty of Vidurji? He was from a lower caste. What was the strength of Ugrasena? So, Krishna is pleased only by devotion, not by externals. Anyone can practice bhakti. So, that's what Prabhupada is writing here. And then, na ati himsrena means what? Even if a devotee has to commit violence, it should not be done beyond what is necessary. Sometimes the question is put before us. You ask us not to eat meat, but you are also eating vegetables. Do you think that is not violence? So, when we na ati himsrena, jitna jarura hai utna hi violence karo bhai. Because eating plants is also violence, but na ati himsrena, don't do unnecessary violence. Then jivo jivasya jivanam, then Prabhupada writes the principle of offering food and everything. Okay, next verse. Madhishne darshana sparsha पूजा स्तुति अभिवंदनैः भूतेषु मद्भावनया सत्त्वेन संगमेन च.
The devotee should regularly see my statues in the temple, touch my lotus feet, and offer worshipable paraphernalia and prayer. He should see in the spirit of renunciation from the mode of goodness and see every living entity as spiritual.
So madbhavanaya means one should see other living entities as I see them. I see everyone as my part and parcel. The spiritual vision. So everyone sees others according to their consciousness. If a young lady is carrying a balloon in one hand and grocery in other hand, and three people are watching, a small child, a dog, and a young man. So what they'll see?
Ladies carrying.
A lady, young lady is carrying a balloon and some food in one hand, in other hand. So a dog, a child, and a young man. क्या क्या देखेगा?
The dog will want food, child will want balloon, and the young man will want the.
Yes. So we see the world according to our consciousness. So devotee learns to see the world according to Krishna's consciousness as spiritual part and parcels, as souls. Because generally in this world, we don't see the things as they are, we see the things as we are, according to our consciousness. So he says, Mad Bhavanaya, see the things as I am seeing, the part and parcel. So Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport, the principles of deity worship, Archa Vigraha Puja Seva, Madhishnya, Dhishnya means the deities. So worshipping the deity of the Lord, so Prabhupada describes in detail about the deity worship. Temple deity worship is one of the functions of a devotee. He goes regularly to see the deity nicely decorated, and with veneration and respect, he touches the lotus feet of the Lord and presents offerings of worship, such as fruits, flowers, and prayers. That's why Srila Prabhupada, in the beginning days when he installed Jagannath Baldev Subhadra, he said, whatever you get, you offer to the Lord. So all the young devotees, they started bringing t-shirt, jeans pant, सब offer कर रहे हैं. One time one devotee in a temple, he brought boxing gloves. बोले प्रभु जी ऑफर करने हैं. बोले ये क्यों ऑफर करने हैं? ये आप समझे. इसको ऑफर करेगा जिसको मारूंगा ना उसको महाप्रसाद मिलेगा. So Prabhupada writes, at the same time, to advance in devotional service, a devotee should see other living entities as spiritual sparks. Mad Bhavanaya. And he says, if somebody is not seeing like that, he is a Prakrita Bhakta. Prakrita Bhakta means materialistic devotee. So then Prabhupada describes how one should respect and befriend other devotees. And the last line, last paragraph, Prabhupada writes, the exact meaning of the word Sattvena is given by Sridhar Swami as being synonymous with Dhairyena. One must perform devotional service with great patience. कब शुद्ध होंगे वो सोचना नहीं. Great patience, उत्साह, निश्चय and dhairya. One should not give up the execution of devotional service because one or two attempts have not been successful. One must continue. पूरे 7 दिन से चैंटिंग कर रहा हूँ, अभी तक भगवान के दर्शन नहीं हुए. Young person, when new people, boys, students, they start chanting, they feel like this. और अभी तक तो दर्शन होना चाहिए था. But it is a long process. So therefore, Rupa Goswami says, Utsaha, Nishchaya and Dhairya. Patience is necessary for developing the confidence that Krishna will certainly accept me. So Prabhupada writes beautiful, very, very powerful statements. Now, Prabhupada is writing in the middle of the night all this. The peak of हम लोग सोच भी नहीं सकते कि कैसे लिखी होंगी. Sometime Prabhupada, generally Prabhupada, when he would translate in dictaphone, so the devotees, they would transcribe and they would count in digits. ऐसा कुछ तो dictaphone में रहता है. Some days Prabhupada would translate 20 digits, some day 100 digits. So one day this devotee asked Prabhupada, how is it that one day you are translating 100, one day 20? So मतलब क्या हो गया, बीच में चक्की लग गया, क्या हुआ? Prabhupada said, my job is not like yours, mechanical. You have to just hear and write down. I have to think how to inject this knowledge in the dull brains of the modern civilization which will last for next 10,000 years. I have to think. बहुत सोच के एक लाइन लिखे हैं यहाँ पे. हम लोग तो पूरा ऐसा सब कुछ नहीं पढ़ पा रहे हैं. So I hope everybody is reading. एग्जाम के लिए भी क्वेश्चंस 10 ही मिल जाते हैं. But we should read all the purports. Krishna will accept me because I am engaging in devotional service. Avashya Rakshive Krishna iti Vishwas Palan, that is confidence of a devotee. Okay. So then, 1718, he describes the qualities of a Madhyamadikari devotee. Mahatam Bahumanena Deenanam Anukampaya Maitra Chaivatma Tulyeshu Yamena Niyamena Cha.
The pure devotee should execute devotional service by giving the greatest respect to the spiritual master and the acharya. He should be compassionate to the poor and make friendship with person who are equals. But all these activities should be executed under regulation and with control of the senses.
So he says, a devotee mahatam bahumanena. So this devotee, he respects the great devotees. What are the four qualities of a Madhyamadikari? We have heard many times.
He will respect the elders,
Hmm.
treat with the equals,
Hmm.
and he'll be compassionate to people who are.
हाँ वो है, उसके अलावा और भी चार है ना. प्रेम मैत्री कृपा उपेक्षा यह करोति समध्यमा. ईश्वरे तद अधीनेषु बालिशेषु and dishatsu. These are the four categories of people. Ishwar, then tad adhineshu, devotees. Balisheshu, who are innocent, and dishatsu, who are envious. तो इन चारों के लिए क्या करता है? ईश्वर के प्रति प्रेम, तद अधीनेषु मैत्री, बालिश पे कृपा, and dishatsu upeksha. What is upeksha for how a devotee neglects? Upeksha क्या होता है? वो आएगा ना तो रास्ता बदल के इधर जा. What is upeksha? How do we neglect the envious? क्या करना है?
Not giving the people.
Okay, वो तो कृपा लेगा ही नहीं, देंगे भी तो. But कृपा मतलब how to neglect? What is actual upeksha?
Should avoid conflicts with that third persons.
You're close. कौन सा controversy avoid करना है?
When he started arguing
Arguing about?
about
The
Lord
God
and
of
the
devotees.
Don't discuss spiritual subject matters with that person. Otherwise, Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes in Jaya Dharma in detail, what is upeksha? We should not discuss anything spiritual with that person. Otherwise, we can be very much cordial with that person. Devotee should be the first person to help that person when he is in danger, when he needs help. ऐसा नहीं, ये तो envious है, इसको क्या help करना है? ये तो अच्छा है हुआ उसका. No, devotee should be the first person, because what will happen? He is helping me, he is good person. Let me also come with him to temple once. So that is a upeksha. Don't discuss spiritual subject matters with that person. So Madhyamadikari, he respects the great devotees. Mahatam bahumanena. He worships the great devotees. And Dinanam anukampaya. That's what Mataji is saying. Dinanam anukampaya, respecting seniors, showing mercy to the innocent people, unfortunate. And Maitryacha atmatulya, friendly with the near ones, equals. And all the while, क्या करना है? Yamena niyamena cha, following the yam and niyam. That is what Narad Muni tells to Dhruva. गुणादिकं मुदं लिप्सेद अनुक्रोशात् गुणाधमात् मैत्रीं समानम् अन्विच्छ न भूते न तापैरभिभूयते. He says guna adhikam. When you see somebody more qualified than you should be happy. Mudam lipset. ऐसा कैसे हो सकता है? तो उल्टा होता है, envious होता है. But happy. Anukroshat gunadhamat. And you see somebody lower than you, be merciful to them. Maitrim samanam. And you see somebody equal to you, make friends. In this way, na tapair abhibhuyate. You will not suffer the miseries of this world. So that is what is required. So Prabhupada writes in the purport about Bahumanena, kya hota hai Bahumanena, Acharya Upasanam, respecting the spiritual master, serving them. Then he says in the second paragraph how a person should never see a spiritual master to be ordinary human being. One time in one BTG, Prabhupada, one devotee has written an article, and the topic was, "This man has changed the world." So Prabhupada called this devotee. This is not a good way of addressing the spiritual master. You should never call spiritual master as a man. He is not an ordinary man. So वो है ना, गुरुषु नर्मति यहाँ पे बोल, अर्चे विष्णु शिलधि गुरुषु नर्मति वैष्णवे जाति बुद्धि। प्रभुपाद ये 3 हमेशा कोट करते हैं। इसके बाद एक इस श्लोक में आगे भी है कि when you if somebody considers the names of the Lord to be ordinary words put together, it is also an offense. ये तो ऑर्डिनरी नाम है कृष्णा, ये तो शब्दों को मिलाया हुआ है, that is also an offense. So क्या होता है, कैसे शुरू होता है, गुरुषु नर्मति, हाँ, अर्चे विष्णु, भगवान का अर्च विग्रह ऑर्डिनरी शिलधि, ऑर्डिनरी स्टोन, एंड गुरुषु, गुरु इज ऑर्डिनरी ह्यूमन बीइंग, एंड वैष्णव, ये तो साउथ इंडियन है, ये तो नॉर्थ इंडियन, ये तो चाइनीज है, क्या क्या खाया होगा इसने मालूम है। Oh, it is an offense. So one should respect the acharyas. One should respect the devotees. And then in the 3rd paragraph, it says, a devotee shows compassion to poor souls who are wanting in spiritual knowledge by enlightening them. That is one of the duties of a devotee. And then he says, for a devotee, there is no point in making friendships with ordinary persons. He should make friendship with other devotees so that by discussing among themselves, they may elevate one another on the path of spiritual understanding. This is called Ishtagosthi. Ishtagosthi बहुत यूज करते हैं ना हम। Ishtagosthi क्या होता है, यहाँ पे प्रभुपाद लिख रहे हैं, when we discuss amongst with other devotees so that we can elevate them in spiritual understanding. That is Ishtagosthi. Then Prabhupada writes about that. Okay, next verse.
प्रैक्टिकल इष्टगोष्ठी तो कुछ और होता है।
वही तो बोल रहा हूँ, यहाँ पे अलग प्रॉपर डेफिनेशन। इष्टगोष्ठी मतलब पूरा मैनेजरियल डिस्कशन जो भी होने वाला है।
नहीं, जिसको जो बोलना है वो बोलना है ओपनली।
अच्छा वैसा है क्या? प्रॉपर का डेफिनेशन ये है इष्टगोष्ठी का। Anyway, some things they change over period of time. Next verse, Prabhupada, next verse we'll see.
Here in the last line, before line, the devotees should avoid a person whose character is not fixed in the standard.
किधर हाँ.
The last.
What
are meanings of the names of standard understanding? Even though he may be of a.
माला करता है लेकिन झूठ बहुत बोलता है, और उसने उधर कुछ तो चीटिंग किया और ये गड़बड़ किया और सब घोटाला करता है, लेकिन चैंटिंग करता है। ऐसे डिवोटी मिलेंगे तो स्टे अवे फ्रॉम दैट। डिवोटी है ना, चैंटिंग कर रहा है यार। मुके एक बार सुने कृष्ण नाम सही तो वैष्णव कर तहार सम्मान।
Not judge a person.
वो जज पर्सन मतलब वो सामने judging means when we have nothing to do with that, then don't judge, but we should know कि वो क्या है। It is not the matter of judging, it is a matter of knowing the facts and dealing with that person accordingly. When we don't know the facts and interpret, that is called as judging. When I know very clearly ये devotee ऐसे ऐसे करते हैं, so I'll stay away from them. I'll not become British Broadcasting Corporation. सुनो ये devotee ऐसा किए हैं. No, but I'll be careful. Yeah, stay away from them. But if we are in a managerial position, in an authoritative position, then, and if the action of this devotee is affecting other devotees, then we have to take actions. वो छोटा मोटा झूठ बोलता है तो उससे मेरे को क्या फर्क पड़ रहा है? Then we should walk it. तो अपना कर, I'll stay away from. So that's all. Otherwise, if we are constantly pointing faults in devotees, it becomes our second nature. It is not so conducive for the practice of bhakti. वैष्णव गुणग्राही न देखे दोष, काय मनो वाक्य करे वैष्णव संतोष. Vaishnav is gunagrahi. He never sees faults. He is always satisfied serving Krishna. But if
also sometimes Vaishnava Kriya Mudra Bhugene like how Pundrik Nityanidhi Gadadhar Pandit, start judging that Pundrik Vidyanidhi, and after he come to know and he has offended that Vaishnav. So sometimes at a higher platform, we don't understand the position of a Vaishnav. That is also true, na?
हाँ वो तो हो सकता है. That's why if we are managers should be very
How
careful.
can you understand from this question?
हमको लग रहा है कि वो गड़बड़ कर रहा है, but his consciousness is different. He may be behaving in apparent wrong ways, but he may be a very advanced devotee. It may be possible. It's like पुंडरीक विद्यानिधि का एग्जांपल बता रहे हैं तो पूरा सेंस ग्रेटिफायर लग रहा है तो, but he was a great devotee. So therefore we have to be really careful, especially if we are in a authoritative position.
We are
Our huh?
not
No, we have to be in authoritative position sometime of our life, because as we grow in Krishna consciousness, we'll be given positions, we'll be given some authorities, responsibility. So a devotee should be very careful. Otherwise, managers will suffer. If we are not, our intention should be very pure in correcting a person. Because sometimes while correcting, I have some grudge with this devotee, और अब भी आया हाथ में, अब तो इसका पूरा बदला लूंगा मैं. He has already done lots of wrong things with me in life, and he has been found guilty now. So I'll add some more of my punishment also. So that's how we have to be really careful. Our intentions, they decide our destination. Why I am punishing, why I am correcting, why I am criticizing.
I think we should pray to the Lord when we are doing that.
Yeah, so बहुत जरूरी है. And we should be ready to suffer the consequences. Yeah, leaders they are in a position where some people will curse them.
Many
तो मैं गाली खाना ही पड़ेगा. And one of our devotees was telling that, वैष्णव अपराध क्या होता है, वो बड़ा अच्छा टॉपिक डिटेल में लेक्चर दिया मदन गोपाल को a few years back on our temple. He says, if a devotee is offended by our actions, if we had no intention to offend and the devotee got offended, तो क्या होगा? पनिशमेंट मिलेगा कि नहीं मिलेगा? मुझे उसको बुरा लगेगा. मैंने तो अच्छा ही सोचा उसके बारे में, अच्छा ही किया. मेरे को प्रसाद का लाइन में स्वीट एक कम दिया उसने. This is the simplest. There are two things. If a devotee is having good intentions and if a person is offended, the devotional service of a devotee will not be destroyed, it will not be obstructed, but a devotee may suffer material consequences. That was the case of Chitraketu Maharaj. He had no intention of criticizing Lord Shiva, but Parvati को बुरा लग गया. She was not in question, picture only. मतलब उनका शिवा से रिलेशन चल रहा है और ये इनको बुरा लग गया है. So he had to become a demon. But in that demon body also, his devotional service is not destroyed. So our devotional service should be very strong, especially when we are in a senior leadership position. Otherwise, institutional success and personal success, they are different. By our actions, our institution may go very nicely, but we may not go so nicely. So that is very important. So the more we grow, the more we are in leadership position, the more we have to become deeper in our bhakti. Otherwise, managers तो manage कर लेंगे society. ISKCON चलता रहेगा, लेकिन managers का भक्ति कैसा चलेगा वो question है. So that's why we see all our senior devotees, they are very intense because they know, अरे वहां पर इतना सब कर रहे हैं, इतना हमको और intense होना ही पड़ेगा, नहीं तो नहीं चलेगा. So that is okay. Anyways, we'll go ahead. आध्यात्मिकानुश्रवणान् नाम संकीर्तना च मे आर्जवेन आर्य निरहं क्रियया तथा.
Always try to hear about spiritual matters and should always utilize his time in chanting the holy names of the Lord. His behavior should always be straightforward and simple, and although he is not envious but friendly to everyone, he should avoid the company of persons who are not spiritually active.
Hmm. Okay, so we'll not go into the detail of the purport. So now after this, he says if one follows these 13 limbs which are described in these few verses, then he will reach Madguna Shruti Matrena. इतना सब करेगा तो मदगुण श्रुति मात्रेणा पे पहुंचेंगे. And then 19th and 20th verses, he describes that bhakti only gives rise to bhakti, and he gives the proof here. मद्धर्मणो गुणैरेतै परिसंशुद्ध आशयः पुरुषस्याञ्जसाभ्येति श्रुतमात्रं गुणं हि माम्.
When one is fully qualified with all his transcendental attributes, and his consciousness is thus completely purified, he is immediately attracted simply by hearing my name or hearing my transcendental qualities.
So being thus purified, the mind of a devotee quickly attains the perfect form of bhakti. And this bhakti acts as the vehicle to carry the mind. Yatha vata ratho ghranam avrinte gandha ashayat evam yogaratam cheta atmanam avikarya.
As a chariot of air carries an aroma from its source and immediately catches the sense of smell. Similarly, one who constantly engages in devotional service in Krishna consciousness can catch the Supreme Soul, who is equally present everywhere.
That's how he is giving an example. Just like a breeze carries a fragrance. So a person who is engaging Krishna consciousness can catch the Supreme Lord. And then Prabhupada in the purport, he describes that the Lord is there in everyone's body. He's Kshetragya, he knows everyone. And when the individual soul is fully saturated with Krishna consciousness, he can understand the presence of the super soul, although he's there. But we cannot understand, we cannot perceive the presence because we are not purified yet. So then, after describing all these things, he says, however, in such bhakti, offense creates restriction. So in the next 7 verses, 21 to 27, he describes how a devotee should be careful and avoid all the offenses in the practice. He says, we'll see the purport of next verse first. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes, however, in 21st verse purport, commentary, Chakravarti Thakur writes, however, in such bhakti, offense creates restriction. Offense generally stems from disrespect to great devotee. In order to avoid offenses to them, one should pay respects to all living entities, thinking that. So, how to be careful and not offend devotees? We'll recite the next verse. Aham sarveshu bhuteshu bhutatmavastitah sada tam avagyaya mam martyah kurute archa vidambanam.
I am present in every living entity as the super soul. Someone neglects or disregards everywhere and engages himself in the worship of the deity in the temple. That is inimitation.
Not good. It says 21 to 27, as Mr. Modini describes, he says, there are various types of offenses are described. The first offense one may do is avagyaya. One may disregard the living entities. So in all these things, will see it is not about respecting devotees much. It is not about offending devotees much. He is describing offending ordinary living entities, disrespecting ordinary living entities. So first he says is avagyaya, avagyaya, aham sarveshu bhuteshu. I am there in everyone's heart, in everyone's body. Bhutatma avasthita sada tam avagyaya. He disrespects. He disrespects me, although he is worshipping Archa. अर्चा विडंबनम, अर्चा तो पूजा अच्छे से कर रहा है, लेकिन he is not respecting all the other living entities. That is offense. Next verse. यो मां सर्वेषु भूतेषु संतम आत्मानमीश्वरम् हित्वार्चां भजते मौढ्यात् अस्मन्येव जुहोति सः.
One who worships the deity of God in the temple but does not know that the Supreme Lord as Paramatma is situated in every living entity's heart must be ignorant and compared to one who offers oblation into the ashes.
So in the previous verse, Chakravarti Thakur continues, he says, if somebody is not respecting all the living entities and worshipping me, in a little angry mood, Kapila Dev is telling these verses. He's angry, little angry. Kya kar raha hai? He's worshipping my deity form. He is not respecting all the other living entities. It will not give him any result. Yo mam sarveshu bhuteshu. I am there in everyone's heart. Santam atmanam ishwaram. I am Paramatma. Hitva archam bhajate. He does not know that I am in everyone's heart. And he is worshipping me. What is this? It is like Bhasmani eva juhoti. It is like offering oblations in ash. It will not give any result. So Srila Prabhupada writes how living entities, they travel in all the 84 lakh species of life, and Supreme Lord is there in everyone's heart, in all the species. So one should have this preliminary knowledge. The Lord is there in everyone's heart. Okay, so then after this, Krishna Chakravarti Thakur writes, because he is Master Kapila, he is a master. Kapila, to teach his devotees, scolds them. He is scolding devotees. Similarly, he calls the worshipper a donkey if he is attached to his land. No? ये बहुत famous words है ना, गोखरा वाला, सैव गोखरा. Prabhupada is quoting. Chakravarti Thakur quotes that. In this verse, various types of mentalities are described. Yasya atma buddhi, if somebody has atma buddhi, ये मेरा शरीर है. Then swadhi buddhi, ये मेरे परिवार है, स्वधी बुद्धि है. Third is ijya buddhi, is worshipping the articles. Bhauma buddhi, bhaumijyadhi means worshipping the place of land, place of worship, place of birth, sorry. Then tirth buddhi, he goes to the pilgrimage and he takes bath and says, "Arey, ho gaya mera yatra." It is like Gokhara. So he says, even some present day guru, seeing a trace of offense in other devotees, sometimes scolds his dear disciple who serves him well by saying, "You serve me, but your service is useless like ashes. You cause me only suffering." Actually, the sages never talk in this manner. It is also said, Archaya me. This is a Prakrita, this is a neophyte devotee ka example. He worships the Lord, but ये डिवोटी का है. मेरे को डिवोटी और मेरे और भगवान के बीच में डिवोटी नहीं चाहिए मेरे को. I can directly connect to Krishna. That's a neophyte devotee. Neophyte means always fighting. हमेशा झगड़ा. Okay, so now after this, he continues. Okay, Srila Prabhupada writes about this neophyte devotees. One who worships the divinity. Now in the 23rd verse, so first type of offense is avagyaya. Next offense is hatred. Dushataha. Dushataha parakaye mam. Malino bhinna darshinaha. Bhuteshu baddha vairasya.
भूतेषु बद्धवर्तस्य
Shantim richati.
न शान्तिं गच्छति.
One who offers me respect but is envious of the bodies of others and is therefore a separatist never attains peace of mind because of his inimical behavior towards other living entities.
So he's Mama Maninaha, he worships me, he offers respect. मुझे तो मानता है Mama Maninaha. But Bhuteshu Baddha Vairasya, he is inimical to others. He hates others. He is Dushataha. He hates others' bodies. Dushataha Parakaye. And he is not understanding. He is not seeing others' suffering as his own suffering. भिन्न दर्शिनः भिन्न दर्शन means वो उसका दुख है मेरा नहीं है. Actually this is a very high level of realization which is described here. This is a level of a self-realized soul. ज्ञानी वो ना पंडिता समदर्शिन वाला है. That is what Lord is expecting, that we should at least, if we are not realized, at least behave at that level. Although we may not feel like that, but still we should act at that level. Artificially, maybe. So Srila Prabhupada writes. In this verse, two phrases, Bhuteshu Baddhavairasya and Dushata Parakaye, are significance. One is inimical and envious. One who is envious of or inimical towards others never experiences any happiness. A devotee's vision, therefore, must be perfect. He should ignore bodily distinctions. He should see only the presence of the part and parcel of the Lord. This is a vision of a pure devotee. And for a practitioner devotee also, what to speak of? ये तो मतलब बोल रहे हैं all the living entities. Upadeshamrita describes one should not see the external imperfections of the devotee's body. If somebody is having some defect, पिछले जन्म में इसने कितना गड़बड़ किया होगा, इसलिए ऐसा हुआ है. वो क्या है, वो बुद्ध फेन पंखा आता है ना, उसमें एक तरफ इंस्ट्रक्शंस में there is a verse it says if one should not focus on the apparent fault of a devotee's body. Just like a person, if he goes to Ganga to take bath, if he sees some foam, some dirt, what he does? Just moves it aside and takes bath in Ganga. So a devotee should not focus on the faults of a devotee's body. And then this verse describes one should not see faults in any living entity. Bodily expression of a particular type of living entity is always ignored by a devotee. It is expressed here in that Lord is always eager to deliver conditioned souls who are engaged in material bodies. Devotees are expected to carry the message or desire of the Lord. That means preach. Okay, so that is the second. So the first is disrespect, second is hatred, and third is criticism. Avamaninaha. Aham uchchavachair dravyai.
शाश्वते द्रव्ये
Pannayanaghe.
व्युत्पन्नया नघे
Archito archayam.
नैव तुच्यवर्चयाम्
Avamaninaha.
भूतग्रामो मामिमा. Hare Krishna. My dear mother, even if he worships with proper rituals and paraphernalia, a person who is ignorant of my presence in all living entities never pleases me by the worship of my deities in the temple. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam.
Anaghe, O sinless one, O my mother, aham na tushye, I am not pleased. Na eva tushye, I am not pleased with a person who is not respecting or avamanina, criticizing other living entities. So, what to speak of criticizing devotees? Criticizing anyone is not pleasing to the Lord. It is not that ये तो devotee नहीं है, इसको जितना भी गाली दे सकते हैं. No, it is not like that. We have to be really careful not to criticize anyone if it is not needed or required. Our criticism of some societies, some people should be only if we have to protect the principles of devotional service. So Prabhupada, when somebody would come and tell Swamiji, what do you think about this person? Prabhupada would ask a very simple, common question always. Anyone knows? If somebody goes and tells Swamiji, what do you think about this person? Prabhupada क्या बोलते थे? What is his philosophy? Prabhupada would never ever criticize the person. He would just counteract the philosophy. Personally, he was very cordial, very friendly to whoever would come. So we should be following that principle. Never criticizing anyone unnecessarily while worshipping my deity, he says. Archito archayam to archita kar raha hai. But his worship is offending. He is criticizing. Then it is not pleasing to the Lord. So then Prabhupada writes in the purport, Lord is pleased by small offerings. The real purpose is to exhibit one's loving devotion to the Lord. The offerings themselves are secondary. So the Lord is pleased by devotion. So Prabhupada is writing there are 64 limbs of worshipping the deities in the temple and offering various articles to the Lord. He says, we offer something simply to show our love and gratitude to the Lord. This love and gratitude for the Lord is exhibited by a pure devotee who knows that the Lord lives in every living entity. So that's how a devotee understands that Lord is there in everyone's heart and respect them as they are. Sakala sammane korite shakati. क्या है आगे? सकल सम्माने कोरिते शकति देहो नाथ जथा जथा गुरुदेव कृपा बिंदु दिया उसमें आता है सकल सम्माने कोरिते शकति देहो नाथ जथा जथा यथा जथा as one deserves I'll give respect to everyone. It is not that मुझे क्लास में बताया गया सबको सम्मान करना है. If a lion also comes I'll say वांचा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च. He will say महाप्रसादे गोविंदे. We have to respect a person according to his level. Never disrespect anyone. Okay, so then after this, he says, by this one can realize the Lord. But when a person does not know this, he cannot respect the Lord and he cannot worship the Lord. So in the next verse, he says, we'll recite that. Archada varchaye tavat. Karmakret. Yavannavet swaridhi.
Yavan Veda Swaridhi Sarvabhuteshu Astitam.
Performing his prescribed duties, one should worship the deity of the Supreme Personality of Godhead until one realizes my presence in his own heart and in the hearts of other living entities as well.
So till the time one does not develop this realization, continue worshipping the deity with prescribed duties without attachment. Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur writes something. Since those practicing pure bhakti by their nature have pure antakaran. What is antakaran? माताजी ने फोटो डाला है. अंतःकरण क्या होता है? इतना क्या कॉम्प्लेक्स हो गया आपके लिए? अंतःकरण क्या होता है? Yes, what is antakaran?
Chitta comes from
Contaminated.
तो चार ही तो चीज है उसमें, मन बुद्धि अहंकार और चित्त. That is antakaran.
चार्जशीट समझ में नहीं आ रही थी ना टेबल बनाने के बाद समझ
Oh, समझ गए ना? बस, ठीक है, ठीक है. Chitta means contaminated intelligence. So pure devotees, they have pure intelligence, pure antakarana, and therefore they do not disrespect anyone. However, karma mishra bhakta can disrespect others. Until the impurities of antakarana no longer remain, disrespect is possible. So till the time we are not purified, it is but natural that we will disrespect others. Because we don't see the Atma, we don't see the Paramatma in everyone's heart. So therefore it is natural to disrespect. But when the Antakaran is pure, disrespect is not possible. At that time, he should no longer perform karma with his bhakti. Swakarma krit means the person performs karma mishra bhakti in sattva guna. सत्व गुण ही भक्ति कर रहा है कर्म मिश्र स्वकर्म कृत नहीं आप जाते हैं क्या लिख रहे हैं स्वकर्म कृत ईश्वरम माम स्वकर्म कृत तो जब तक शुद्ध नहीं है स्वकर्म कृत कर्म मिश्र भक्ति करेगा वो with the appearance of the state of seeing the Lord in all beings, the person should no longer perform karma mishra bhakti. Okay, then he continues. Atmanasya parasyapi yah karoti antarodaram tasya bhinna drisho mrityur
तस्य निम्नदृशं
vidadhe
मृत्यु
bhayamulpanam.
भूयमल्बनम्.
And the blazing fire of death, life of great fear is whoever makes the least discrimination between himself and other living entities because of a differential outlook.
Okay. So he says, till the time, okay, we are on. Yeah. Atmanasya parasyapi yah karoti antara udaram. So till the time, okay. So as the dasya bhinna drisho mrityu vidadhe bhayamulpana, as the blazing fire of death, I cause great fear. So he says, if people are not respecting living entities, you know what happens at the time of death? I give fear to those living entities who are not respecting, who are differentiating from one living entity another. I, in the form of death, gives fear to these people. So that is the consequence. If somebody is not coming to this level of self-realization, when they die, they'll be fearful because they have criticized someone, they have disrespected others, they have hated others, so therefore they suffer. And then the next series of verses describes all the starving jivas on earth, Chakravarti Thakur writes in the next verse commentary. All the starving jivas on earth, hearing that there is one who can satisfy their hunger, will go to him. Who will have the patience like King Rantidev to feed them all? सब लोग क्रांतिदेव जैसे तो है नहीं कि सबको दया करेंगे. So, in answer to this, it is said, on the contrary, they should worship those living entities with gifts as much as they can. यथाशक्ति तो करो, सब लोग रांतिदेव के जैसे तो नहीं है, giving everything, but whatever we can, we should worship and respect other living entities. अथमां सर्वभूतेषु भूतात्मानं कृतालयम् अर्हये दानमानाभ्याम् मैत्र्या भिन्नेन चक्षुषा.
Therefore, through charitable gifts and attentions, as well as through friendly behavior, and by viewing all to be alike, one should propitiate me, who abides in all creatures as their very self.
They should not abuse those who criticize them. That is a very high level of understanding he is giving. They should not abuse those who criticize them and try to beat them because they are hungry. They should respect them with praise, giving them greater respect than themselves. That is a very high level of understanding which he is giving here. They should treat them as friends, equal to themselves. So basically, we have to work at our level of realization. A person who is a pure devotee, a self realized soul, he is not affected by anyone. And there are ample examples in Bhagavatam. Rishabdev, it will come in the fifth canto. Rishabdev, after he lives his whole life as a king of the entire Bhumandal, when he leaves the world, people were spitting at him, passing stool and urine on him, and he is behaving like a Jada. Jada yoga he is practicing. So that is how a self realized soul behaves in this world, is not affected by anyone. So we have to basically work at our level of understanding. Yeah, next verse. I'm not going to the detail. Okay, Prabhupada writes some things. There are two Sanskrit words used here, man and dan. Dan manabhyam. Man indicates a superior, and dan indicates one who gives charitable gifts towards an inferior. We cannot treat the Supreme Lord as inferior, who is dependent on our charitable gifts. When we give charity, it is to a person who is inferior. Charity is not given to rich man. Similarly, it is explicitly stated here that mana is offered to a superior and charity is offered to inferior. The living entities may become rich or poor, but the Lord is unchangeable. He is always full in six opulences. Treating a living entity equally does not mean treating him as one would treat the Supreme Lord. One should know who is Supreme Lord and who is a living entity. That distinction should always be there. Compassion and friendliness do not necessitate falsely elevating someone to exalted position of the Supreme Lord. So, although a living entity, a self-realized soul sees that everything, every living entity is part and parcel, but he never thinks that they have become one with the Lord. No, he always knows Lord is different than all the living entities. Sorry. Okay, he continues. Jiva Shreshtai Ajivanam Tata Pran Bhrita Shubhe Tata
शुभे ततः सच्चिदं गुरव
Living entities are superior to inanimate objects, O blessed mother, and among them, living entities who display life symptoms are better. Animals with developed consciousness are better than them, and better still are those who have developed sense perception.
Yeah. So now in this next series of verses from 27 to 32, he is telling that he sees everyone according to their position. He knows that different living entities are at different levels of consciousness, and he gives them respect as they deserve. Deho natha jatha jatha. So to respect everyone, we should know what is their level. If a sannyasi comes and a servant of sannyasi comes, and if we give all the respect to servant, so servant will feel uncomfortable. मेरे गुरु उनको respect दो भाई, मुझे क्यों इतना respect दे रहे हैं? So we should know the level of a person to give respect. Even a non-living entity deserves the respect. In the Vedic culture, even a broom is not touched with the feet. So everyone, every living entity should be respected. So in the next series of verses, he gives the gradation. Oh, Subodhini ने अच्छा एक chart दिया है पूरा. The gradation of the jivas, starting from inanimate, then living immobile, then entities with greater life symptoms, then developed consciousness, then sense perception, then touch, then taste, then smell, hear, then different forms, then entities with two sets of teeth, then with many legs, then animals with four legs, and then comes human beings. In human beings also there are gradations. Those who are without any varnashram, all those malichas, yavanas, they are not in varnashram. Then there are humans in varnashram system. Then among varnashram, the highest is brahmanas. Then amongst the brahmanas, there are those who know the Vedas. Among the people who know Vedas, there are few who know the meaning of the Vedas also. तो वेद को जानते हैं, उसका मीनिंग जानने वाले बहुत कम रहते हैं. Among those who know the meaning, there are few who can dispel the doubts. And there are those who follow those duties. And amongst those who follow those duties, there are few who are liberated. And amongst many, there are few who are devotees. Brahmananam sahasrebhya satrayaji vishishyate. Satrayaji sahasrebhya sarva vedanta paraga. सर्व वेदांत वित्कोट्या विष्णु भक्त विशिष्यते वैष्णवाणाम सहस्रेभ्य एकांतेको विशिष्यते. Chaitanya Charitamrita Prabhupada writes, quotes this in purport. He says, out of brahmanas, thousands of brahmanas, brahmananam sahasrebhya. कौन है बेस्ट? सत्रयाजी, जो यज्ञ कर सकता है वो बेस्ट है. सत्रयाजी सहस्रेभ्य, जो सत्रयाजी यज्ञ कर सकते हैं उसमें कौन बेस्ट? वेदांत पारगा, one who knows Vedanta. And one out of thousands who know Vedanta, Vishnu Bhakta is the best. And out of those thousands of Vishnu Bhaktas, one who knows Vishnu actually is the best. So that is a pure devotee. So that is the gradation. So we'll just read the translations 28 to 33. 28 to 30. Next.
More than those who have developed sense perception. Those who have developed the sense of taste are better than those who have developed only the sense of touch. Better than them are those who have developed the sense of smell, and better still are those who have developed the sense of hearing.
So Prabhupada in the purport gives the examples of all of this. Sense of smell, sense of taste, sense of touch. So सब है वो भी पढ़ लीजिएगा. Next verse translation.
Whereas those living entities who can perceive sound are those who can distinguish between one from another. Better than them are those who have developed upper and lower sets of teeth, and better still are those who have many legs. Better than them are the quadrupeds, and better still are the human beings.
Next.
Among human beings, the society which is divided according to quality and work is best. And in that society, the intelligent beings who are designated as Brahmana are best. Among the Brahmanas, one who has studied the Vedas is the best. And among the Brahmanas who has studied the Vedas, one who knows the actual purpose of Vedas is the best.
Next.
Better than the Brahmana who knows the purpose of Vedas is he who can dissipate all doubts, and better than him is one who strictly follows the Brahminical principles. Better than him is one who is liberated from all earthly contamination, and better than him is a pure devotee who executes devotional service without expectation of reward.
So Prabhupada writes in this purport, such a person who knows the purpose of the Vedic injunctions, the first paragraph, last few lines, Prabhupada is writing. Such a person who knows the purpose of the Vedic injunctions, who can employ the principles laid down in Vedic literatures, and who teaches his disciples in this way, that way is called an Acharya. The position of Acharya is that he executes devotional service with elevation to a higher position of life. And then, after describing all these various gradations, 33rd verse describes Tasman Mayarpita Shesha
तस्मान् मयि अतर्थितस्य
Taraha Mayarpitatmanah Pumso
मयि अर्पितात्मनः पुंसो मयि
Napashyami Param
समर्पणः
Bhutam
न पश्यामि परं भूतं कर्तुं समदर्शिना.
Therefore, I do not find a greater person than He who has no interest outside of mind and who therefore engages and dedicates all his activities and all his life, everything unto me without cessation.
Yes. So here, Kapila Dev is giving his opinion, what he thinks is the best person. Tasmin Mai Arpita, superior to this Jnani who has realized the soul, is a person who is Nirantara, Nirantara Mai Arpita Atmanaha, who is always dedicated to me. Ashesha, he dedicates all his activities. He dedicates his Kriya, Artha, and Atma. He dedicates his, Chakravarti Thakur writes, he dedicates his hearing and chanting to me. Chakravarti Thakur will see the commentary, yeah. Superior to Jnani is a person who engages in worship of my names and forms. So Kriya is hearing and chanting. Then Artha, he dedicates his wealth. Atma, he dedicates his identity, his mind, his intelligence. Atmanaha, Arpita Atmanaha. He dedicates everything to me. He says, Na pashyami param bhutam. I do not see a superior living entity than this person. He has offered everything to me. Giving up sannyasta, my sannyasta karmanaha. He gives up all the varnashram duties and he worships me. So he dedicates all his activities unto me. So that's how the Lord is appreciating that devotee who is worshipping the Lord without considering any of the material restrictions. So Chakravarti Thakur writes, he renounces all karmas in order to attain me. He gives up varnashram. Mai ananya bhavena bhaktim kurvanti ye dridham. Mat krite tyakt karmana tyakta swajana bandhavaha. This verse has come in the 25th chapter. He gives up his family. He gives up his relatives. He gives up all actions only to please me. So such type of person is very, very dear to the Lord. Such devotee is dear to the Lord. Srila Prabhupada writes, in this verse, the word samdarshanat means that he no longer has any separate interest. The devotee's interest and the Supreme Lord's interest is one. The devotee is only thinking about Krishna and Krishna is only thinking about devotees. Their interest is one. Sadhavo hridayam mahyam sadhunam hridayam tuham. Madanyatena jananti naham tibhyo managati. I know only my devotee and devotee knows only me. So that is how a devotee is. Okay. He continues. Manasaitani bhutani praname bahumanayan Ishvaro jiva kalaya pravishto bhagavaniti.
Such a perfect devotee offers respects to every living entity because he is under the firm conviction that the Supreme Personality of Godhead has entered the body of all living entity as a super soul or controller.
So he says, Manasa pranamayed. He should offer respect with his mind, Manasa. He should respect every living entity, Bhutani, thinking that what he thinks? Ishvaro Jiva Kalaya Pravishto. The Lord has entered in everyone's heart as Paramatma. That's how a living entity, that's how this devotee offers respects to everyone. Okay, so we'll stop here from next 35th to 45th verses. Kapaladev describes the characteristics of time. Hare Krishna. Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagvatam ki jai.
हरे कृष्ण दंडोत प्रणाम।